Now the first new topic maybe that you're encountering, so you've known your multiplication tables. I was just going through some shortcuts, but now let's get into what are squares, cubes, and roots. So square are when you multiply a number by itself. So the new symbol you will learn is, so if I said what is 3 squared, it would just be 3 times 3. But the new symbol here is this. It's called a superscript, which is actually हम number के top right corner पे छोटा लिखते हैं. So it's not 92 and it is definitely not 9 के नीचे 2. It is for sure you put it in almost this small box to the top right, and you read this as 9 squared with a D at the end, squared. So 9 squared is equal to 9 times 9, which when you do it, you get 81. So we can do all of the squares, and I'm going to construct the table for you. Let's just do it here. And it's just something that you need to know. So you can do it on an exam. Yeah, every time I ask you, you can do the multiplication, but you'll get so comfortable with this because we'll be using it a lot that you'll just start doing it in your head. So all I'm doing is, for example, 2 times 2 is 4, 3 times 3 is 9, 4 times 4 is 16, and so forth. So 5 squared, instead of writing it out, I'm just doing 5 times 5 in my head. It is 25. 6 times 6 is 36. Then you get 49. 8 8s are 64. 9 9s are 81. You get 100. Then it gets tricky, but I highly recommend, I've just picked some which are important. So these aren't everything, but on exams, I've noticed O level में ये बहुत आते हैं questions. So just something to know. You can always do it on your calculator, but let's say ये paper 1 में आ गया, so then you'll have to do it manually, right? So 11s are 121. 12 squared is 144, just a number to know. 13 times 13 is 169. And then finally 15 squared is 225. So I filled out this table, but I want you guys to get very comfortable, all of you, with this sort of square ka table, okay? And so I've filled it out nice and neat for you. Here we go. And then the next one is, what is the concept of a square root? So square root ka symbol is this. It's a new symbol that you're learning. And all this says is the opposite of square. So square root is, what number do I have to multiply? So let's say I said, what is the square root of 81? So it's 9, which is just saying that if I square 9, I get 81. So if I square root 81, I should get back to 9. So it's the opposite in a lot of ways, and you learn this, it is the power half of a number. So if squaring is power 2, then halving is square root, but I don't want to confuse you right now. All you need to know is that this symbol without any number here is basically 2, and it's the square root. Okay, so square root of 4, from this table I can see if I square root, I should get back to 2. You can write it this way, right? So 2 times 2 is 2 squared, and basically this function cancels out the square. All right, now let's learn about cubes. As the name suggests, agar square was a square, so it was 2 times 2, then a cube is a 3D figure, remember? So isme you're multiplying 2 times also the length 2, and that's where the word comes from. So it is 2 ki power 3, 2 multiplied by itself 3 times, and you write it just the way we wrote squares, which is over here power is 3. This is the power of a number. Okay, so if it's 2, it's squared. If it's 3, it is cubed with a D. So 2 cubed is 8. I've just done 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8. Okay, so you need to know the cube table, or at least how to do it. I filled it out for you. So here 8, then 3 into 3 into 3, as in 3 cubed is 27, and so forth. I think the important ones here that you definitely should know is 2 cubed, 3 cubed, 4 and 5. These are, I'm not saying optional, but you should test them on a calculator. There's no need to remember 343 really, but for sure on an exam you're going to get this, and it'll be in different ways when we get into algebra, where you'll have to identify. So if they've given a number like 125x cubed, don't panic right now, we'll build to it. But if it's given like that, you have to be able to identify that this is 5 ka cube, so this is 5x cubed, something like that. So I'm going to delete this, don't panic, but I'm just saying the importance of knowing these numbers cannot be understated. The next important concept is one of directed numbers. In other words, numbers can be plus or minus. And a lot of people get confused. So if I say, -2, -5, so they have a hard time visualizing this. So I've tried to visualize it for you using this concept of depth. So in my mind, 0 जहाँ से हमारी normal counting शुरू होती है goes upwards, let's say in height. So 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 and so forth. And negative numbers go downwards from 0. So it's like jumping into a pool. All right. So let's say you were at -5. Okay. So this fish is at -5, right? And I add numbers. So anytime I am adding a number, that means moving up on the scale. Okay. So you start coming towards the surface like that. Okay. So if I do that, for example, I add 2, you see how it moves up to, and it got to -3 now. So what is this? Basically, if the question was what is -5 plus 2, well, it can't be -7. It has to come up to the surface. So it is coming closer, and -3 is closer to 0 than -5. So that's one way to visualize it. And then what about if I was subtracting a further number? तो मैं already -5 पे था और मैं एक और number इसमें से subtract कर रहा हूँ. Let's see what that looks like. So if I subtracted 3, notice that it went down from 5. I subtracted 3 and it's now gone down more. So subtraction is going down in depth, addition is going up. All right. So -5 minus 3 gets you to -8. So we're going to do this because people get confused कि इस वाले में it was 5, instead of 5 plus 2 7, I've come to 3, और इस वाले में 5 and 3 now I'm 8. So what's going on? And this concept will help you. Okay, a negative number is already submerged into पानी, और plus से आप थोड़ा ऊपर आते हो, minus से आप नीचे जाते हो. All right. The next concept is one of numbers greater than and less than. So the signs look like this. And how do you remember them? Well, one hint is to think about it like a crocodile. And crocodiles always eat the bigger number. So if crocodile ka mouth is like that, then you'll know that what's the bigger number? 10. So the crocodile will eat 10. That's how you should think about it. Moving on, the next concept is called BODMAS. And what does it stand for? It is the order of operations. Okay, so agar you've got a question where you have to do addition, subtraction, there's all sorts of things going on, to kis order mein solve karna hai? So remember BODMAS, which is first brackets always. So agar ye question hai 7 plus 3 times 2 minus this and that, first of all zoom in on the bracket. So first of all I will do this and I will say 6 minus 2 is 4. Okay, that's the first rule. What's the next one? So open the brackets. Okay, and now you bring the bracket out, and what does that mean? So it's bracket ke bahar there was a minus sign, and when I open it, the minus sign makes it -4. All right, the next step is division. So you go in this order: BODMAS, then you open the brackets, then any divisions in the question. So can we see a division? Yes, yahan pe division ho rahi hai. So let me do that. -4 divided by, you can write it like that, -4 divided by 2 gives me -2. All right, so this becomes -2. Now, okay, there's no other division, so now I do step number 3 in BODMAS, which is multiplication. Let's do the multiplication, which here is this number. All right, so let's do this next. 3 times 2 is 6, so मैंने यहाँ पे 6 लिख दिया, and the signs remain the same. This plus remains the same and this -2 remains the same. Finally, BODMAS mein the last two things you do are addition and subtraction. So the main hint here is addition and subtraction has to wait till the end. So now that everything is just down to addition and subtraction, we can use the tools we've learned. So 7 plus 6, remember how will I do this? 7 plus 3 dala 10, and then 6 mein se 3 nikal diya 3, so 13. We did this example in your head. 7 plus 6 is 13 minus 2, and then finally you get 11.